Hello, my name is Colson Rivers. I'm a student at the University of North Georgia. This is a lecture speech for my Advanced Public Communication course. Today, we're going to be talking about how we use computer-mediated communication. So a brief overview, we're going to talk about what computer-mediated communication is, and then we're going to talk about two theories, namely media richness theory and electronic propinquity theory. And then we're going to apply those two theories, and then we're going to wrap it all up. So first, computer-mediated communication, very simply, any communication that's going through any kind of computer is going to be considered computer-mediated communication, or CMC. So we're going to move into our first theory now, which is media richness theory. And so the big idea of media richness theory is that the medium is the problem. So going through the computer is going to have certain restraints and different restraints, and so those are evaluated under four different criteria. Firstly, natural language or symbolic expression. Second, feedback, how quickly and how thorough. Thirdly, nonverbal communication, can it be expressed at all and to what amount? And fourthly, personal focus, how narrow does my focus need to be and how long can it be focused there? And so media richness theory judges every medium on a continuum from lean to rich. And so something like a business email being very lean and something like a video call being very rich. And it also makes lasting evaluations of these media. For example, a business email isn't all of a sudden going to become a rich medium. So these evaluations are lasting and very concrete, but they don't have much room for any kind of exception. And so when we apply this theory, it can be used to discern which medium is best or most appropriate in a given scenario. Also, Matsat and Hisham Salamat of the Impact of Corporate who wrote The Impact of Corporate Social Responsibility, Information Richness on Trust, Issues in Social and Environmental Accounting. This is an article that they wrote in 2014. They make the case that proper medium choices can increase trust in a given relationship, and faulty or lacking medium choices can actually decrease trust. And so they say that trust is a construct of media richness theory. And so kind of building on that relational aspect of computer-mediated communication leads us to our next theory, which is electronic propinquity theory. And so to define that from Scherblom and their computer-mediated communication textbook written in 2019, it is a systems theory that seeks to understand the influences and constraints on the processes of human communication. That word propinquity is not common to most people, so let's define it. Propinquity literally means physical closeness, but when we're talking about electronic propinquity, we're talking about a psychological, felt, or perceived closeness to another person. And so I can feel close to somebody through a video call, similarly as close to I would as if they were sitting talking with me in a room. So electronic propinquity theory, or EPT, gives us 7 influences on that perceived closeness or propinquity. And it also gives us 6 propositions out of those 7 influences. So let's talk about those. Those 7 influences are these: relationship propinquity, which is that prior history, that previous relationship experience. Number 2 is the bandwidth of the medium, that richness that we talked about previously. The complexity of the information that needs to be shared. Number 4, the mutual directionality, or that feedback. The number or formality of communication rules, so similar to that natural language constraint from previous. The amount of choice in selection of medium. And finally, the communication skills or communicator skills of the two participants. And so let's talk about the propositions that come from these influences. So the first 4 are all something that increase the perceived or felt propinquity or closeness. And those are a wider bandwidth, more mutual directionality, more communication skills, and fewer choices in selection of medium. And then there are 2 that actually decrease the perceived propinquity, and those are more complex information and or more communication rules will actually lead to a more distant feeling or less closeness. Of course, all of these can be inverted to mean if you swap, as in a narrower bandwidth is going to lead to less propinquity, so they go vice versa. And so now we're going to talk about some distinctions between electronic propinquity theory and media richness theory. And so EPT gives us more specific and less exceptional or prone to exception answers to a given scenario. And then EPT also accounts for relationship history and human ability as it makes its evaluations, which can prove to change a lot of expected outcomes given a certain scenario or circumstance. And finally, EPT focuses on human experience over medium limitations, which can make it more natural and more human-centric of a theory. And so you might be asking, but why? So very simply, why are we talking about all this? I would argue that as our culture is going more and more technology-based in our communication, as we're utilizing CMC more and more, it proves fruitful that we would understand what affects how we feel and how close we feel through CMC. Therefore, we need to understand how to build community through CMC more and more each and every day so that we do not feel more distant from one another, but as we can search to really build that community and that closeness with one another. And so in summary, MRT helps us understand the limits of our tools that we have, and then EPT helps us understand how those tools affect us and our relationships with others, that human experience that we talked about. And then MRT is going to give us more general, but also more exceptional or prone to exception answers. For example, if I only ever text somebody, it's not going to necessarily negatively affect our trust or our closeness. And then finally, both theories are becoming more and more useful as more and more people are engaging with CMC. And here are those sources. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day. Bye.